We are heading to the town of Greece today. I guess first of all, I'll introduce my guest. She is the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce. Sarah Lentini is with me. Good to see you.
Wonderful to be here, Steve. Thanks so much for having me on.
Largest suburb
easily
in Rochester.
Yeah, not only the largest suburb in Rochester, but the town of Greece is one of the largest towns in the state of New York, with a population of 96,000 people. In fact, a little more than 96,000. And just to give you a sense of comparability, the city of Albany is 98,000 people, so town of Greece is roughly the size of the city of Albany and twice the size of the city of Binghamton, which is right around 45,000 people, so pretty darn big.
And way more beautiful than any of those towns.
Oh, stunningly beautiful. Yeah. And it's interesting, I think, if people don't spend a whole lot of time in the town of Greece, they may only know Ridge Road, which is terrific, but it is commercial, and it doesn't show off the great natural beauty of the town of Greece. The town of Greece is, of course, right on Lake Ontario, and I think people know that intellectually, but maybe they forget that, so they don't picture this beautiful lake shore. Braddock Bay is in the town of Greece, which is a wonderful environmental preserve. And then there are parks, and there are biking trails and hiking trails and orchards, and it's still actually in large part agrarian, so it's really quite lovely.
Well, full disclosure here, I'm an East Sider. When I moved here 30 years ago, we plopped right down in Brighton.
Lovely.
But every time we go to the west side,
yes,
I marvel at the beauty of the town. I always say, wow, they have this here, they have that here. The town of Greece is fantastic, and you said almost 100,000 people. Why don't you become a city?
You know, that's a great question. I'm probably not the person to ask it of, but it is certainly possible. It would certainly be possible for the town of Greece to pursue city status. I imagine that is quite a process, and it would be a decision not to be taken lightly. And I imagine it also would, involve putting in place some additional infrastructure, and that would be a big decision. But certainly, you're right. The population is such that it could easily be a city.
And though there are almost 100,000 people in the town, to call it a town is a little more quaint.
I know.
Being a big old city.
Exactly, yeah.
Sarah is here because the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce is proudly presenting its 2017 Small Business Awards this week. It is on Thursday. It is at the Greece Marriott, and it is a spotlight event. I will say that I'm very proud to be sharing the emceeing duties with, I know it's someone from Channel 10, but I haven't been told who.
Nikki Rudd.
Oh, good old Nikki.
Yes. Yeah, I understand you guys know each other,
we go
in fact.
way back.
Wonderful.
I worked at Channel 10 for many years, and she and I would at times anchor the weekend news.
How lovely.
Yeah, so she's great. She's perfect for the event. And the guest speaker is Joe Rochester, who represents the town of Greece in the state senate. It is part of a huge footprint that Joe Rochester has.
It certainly is. And then his Senate office is located right on Ridge Road in the town of Greece. He is certainly very active with the town of Greece, but you're right, it's a much larger footprint than that, and it includes a whole big chunk of the west side, but also some of the east side. And of course, he is our senior New York State Senator, and very, very active in supporting business, in the community and representing the state of New York. We're delighted that he's going to be our keynote.
And he is my state senator, too, in Brighton.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
Another good friend, too. Let's talk about the awards. You have two different awards that you are giving out this week. Let's talk. I know you can't tell us who the winners are.
No,
unless
but
you want to be a big surprise.
No. That's actually the big reveal the day of, and it is November 9th. It is a luncheon, so there's there's networking and a reception of sorts that happens between 11:30 and noon, and then from noon to 1:30 p.m. is the program. I thank you again so much, you and Nikki Rudd, for being our co-masters of ceremonies. And we give two awards, and they are the Small Business of the Year and the Micro Enterprise of the Year. And while I cannot tell you who the winners are, I can tell you who the finalists are. We had over 60 nominees this year, which is really quite a lot of competition, a lot of great organizations to choose from. We have a Small Business Awards Selection Committee, and they do the difficult job of pouring through applications and making the discernments that need to be made. And the finalists, I'm really delighted to reveal. As I said, there are two categories. So there's a Micro Enterprise of the Year, and the finalists are Deborah Hamwitt Agency, Docks Facilities Solutions, Rehouse Architectural Salvage, and then for the Small Business of the Year, the finalists are Dell's Market and Deli, Ridgemont Country Club, and ServPro of Northwest and Southwest Monroe County. So you can hear from that list, there's really a very diverse mix of organizations involved. They're all terrific organizations.
Is it true that the number I saw, there are 6,000 businesses in the town of Greece? Can there be that many?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a very it's one of the commercial centers in the county, as I'm sure you and our listeners know. I would say that Greece and Henrietta, and to some extent now Webster, perhaps, are the three towns in suburban Monroe County that I think of as having the most commercial footprint. But the town of Greece has the distinction of also having more undeveloped land. So I think it's going to play an increasingly important part in the economic growth of the region.
We had a big news story this week. Addison Precision Manufacturing is moving from the city into the town of Greece. They're going to build a huge facility.
Yep.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting news? I think that's wonderful news. And then we've got all sorts of other businesses that are coming into Greece, some from outside, the town and the area, and some are, literally moving from one part of the region or the county to the other. A good example of that is that Ruby Gordon Furniture is going to be moving into the mall at Grease Ridge. In fact, my understanding is that they're trying to get in there really soon this fall, because there's a lot of shopping to be done before the holidays.
The Regional Chamber of Commerce in Greece envelops more than just the town of Greece, I'm told.
It does. From the very beginning, I'm told, because I have not been there since the very beginning. In fact, I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary. But from the beginning, the Greece Chamber of Commerce did not make it a requirement to either live or work in Greece in order to be a member. And as you can imagine, by virtue of simply the population and the commercial center that the town of Greece has, it's been very attractive for people of all sorts in the business community to be members. And then add to that the fact that we've offered a range of other services that might be of interest to individuals and families, not just to businesses. One of those is that we have a brokerage firm and we offer health insurance, medical, dental, and vision insurance.
Yeah,
you saw that on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been doing that for a very long time. And, and it's a wonderful service as well as a business that we run. And a lot of people come to us because we're really able to help them navigate the health insurance system and landscape, which once again is changing. So I know people are really interested in getting some help.
Sarah Lentini is the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber, host of this week's Small Business Awards at the Greece Marriott. Is it still called the Greece Marriott?
It's actually the Rochester Airport Marriott Hotel, and it's right on Ridge Road, Ridge and Fetzner. As soon as you come off the highway, there it is.
Absolutely.
And it's lovely. We were just talking about the fact that the Marriott has undergone, a very wonderful redesign, and to the credit of Laura Bennett, who's the general manager there, it is always on the cutting edge. She keeps things fresh, and the quality of the place is fantastic. In fact, they've got a wonderful chef, and every year when we do the Small Business Awards, the chef really comes up with a special menu for us. And this is, of course, a fantastic seasonal menu that he's put out there. I know that you said you had looked at it, and it looked good.
Yes, this Thursday. If you want to go, I know you want an RSVP very soon. Tomorrow is Monday's the deadline for RSVP.
Yes, ideally. I mean, it's not absolutely impossible after, but that's really the day that we're required to give a hard and fast number to the Marriott, which is buying and cooking, right? Isn't that what they do?
Yeah.
So that is the deadline that we've requested that folks get back to us, and they can, there are all sorts of ways that you can sign up, and probably at this point the best thing for people to do is either to go online, greecechamber.org. greecechamber.org is the web address. So all kinds of information about us, but also you can register right online. And so that's nice and easy if that happens to be the way that you like to do. You do a registration, and the other is to call us. Good old-fashioned calling and talking to people. And our phone number is, of course, 585, and then it's 227-7272. Just call us, and any one of us can help get somebody registered.
The big event, the Small Business Awards, coming up this Thursday.
We anticipate a sellout. I think first of all, the fact that Entercom Radio, thank you very much, is one of our media sponsors, and also WHEC TV Channel 10. That is, I think, going to really ensure that it's a sellout. But it is typically a very popular event every year. It's one of our signature events, and we're really also incredibly grateful to a whole list of sponsors, but especially grateful to our founding presenting sponsor, and once again, the presenting sponsor now for 8 years, which is Genesee Regional Bank. They're awesome. And Phil Pecora, whom you may know, he's the president and CEO of the bank, is going to be on hand and making remarks, as well as our keynote speaker, New York State Senator Joe Roebuck.
It's going to be a great day.
I know.
Why are we focusing in on small businesses? If there's got to be some huge companies that are in Greece.
Yes, there are, of course,
Yeah.
but the vast majority of companies across the country, not just in Greece, not just in Monroe County, but the vast majority of the business community is actually a small business rather than a large business. So, and you've probably heard this said before, but it bears repeating, and that is that small business is the backbone of the American economy, and of course that means it's the backbone of the town of Greece, the Monroe County, and the Finger Lakes region economy, and therefore. I think it's very much appropriate for us to be encouraging small business. And then, this just makes logical sense. If we want to encourage the large businesses of tomorrow, we should be encouraging the small businesses of today, because I don't think anybody begins a business as a large business.
Sure.
Everybody started out as a small business, and it's the encouragement and support, and of course the incredible hard work, perspiration, and investment on the part of business owners that ends up turning a small business into a larger concern.
I'm sure there were many reasons why the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce looks to draw new businesses to the town of Greece. If I had to ask you for two main reasons why Greece is so attractive for new business, what would you say?
Well, I think, first of all, the fact that there's already a nexus and a core of commerce there, that I think commerce attracts commerce. That means that there are already these commercial corridors that somebody can join. There are lots of wonderful real estate developments, and plazas of various sorts where somebody can come in and oftentimes for relatively little money end up leasing a space. So I can think of several folks within our membership that are, in fact, are great examples of this. And then, another very good reason is because of that population. And when you think about it, 96,000 people right there in very close proximity, and obviously even more, outside of the town, but 96,000 people right there. And they're not just one part of a demographic. There are certainly plenty of older adults in Greece. There are plenty of senior living facilities in Greece. Many of them are now attracting people, my age. I'm embarrassed to tell you that I think I'm actually eligible to be in one of those senior living facilities, and they're not what they used to be.
Sure.
They're now these very upscale, lovely apartments with services, usually a menu of services. And so I think we're remaining a very attractive place for older adults, even as the concept of senior living has evolved. And then, we mentioned how many people there are. We didn't mention the fact that the Greece Central School District is the 8th largest school district in the state of New York. So we have a few young people there as well. And by definition, they come with families, right? They're likely to have parents and brothers and sisters. And so it's a very balanced community. I think it is one of the reasons that the town of Greece tends to be picked as a test market for a lot of new products that are being tested nationally, in addition to being one of the first places that companies, especially from out of town, even look to when they look to move in. So, those are just two reasons. There are many more.
Sure.
We certainly like to think that also the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce is a welcoming force and a good supportive force that's there as well. And we are the largest chamber of commerce in suburban Monroe County, and I think it's no accident that we and the great commercial strength of the town go hand in glove. It's part of why I love the job. It's because I get to interact with lots of people, and I get to do things that are big picture and strategic. I've got a wonderful board of directors, a wonderful team of staff that work very, very hard, very capable, and then a membership that is unparalleled. It's deep, it's rich. There are large organizations, small organizations, mid-sized. We have nonprofits, many of them. We have churches within the membership. We have individuals in the membership. And then we do many different things, and that keeps things very interesting. So we have lots of events. This is one of them. But we just did a big signature event that we launched for the first time in September. It was called, and you guys, I think, even helped, get the word out about
Yes.
that. It was bluegrass at the
Right.
Blue Barn. It was
Right.
at the Blue Barn Cidery, which is a brand new cidery, where they make hard cider on Manitou Road.
Great.
And that was a wonderful success. That was sold out 2 days before the event. And we're going to be doing more events like that at a variety of places, just to showcase the great, the great food and wine and spirit and the arts. At the Blue Barn event, we even had square dancing. We had a bluegrass band. We had I don't know if you're familiar with the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's a new production that the Greece Performing Arts Society has just premiered at Lyric Theater here downtown. Great new theater, by the way.
Yes.
And before they had premiered it, they were kind enough to perform a couple of musical selections at the Bluegrass at the Blue Barn event, and oh my gosh, they couldn't have been better. I mean, they were just fantastic. So I love events like that. I think the community loves events like that. It's a way to bring everybody together and have a good time, and honestly, I think that's what we need in life, is a little bit more joy. So we see that as part of our mission as well.
We'll recap the event, but I want to ask you one more question. The perceived or real rivalry between East and West Side?
It's so funny. I've lived here a long time now, but I'm also, I think you were telling me that you're not originally from the area.
I'm
but
from Boston.
You're from Boston.
And there was that in the Boston area.
Was
North
it really?
Shore, South
Okay.
Shore.
Yeah,
Sure.
I guess maybe there is always
Yeah.
a little bit of this
Yeah.
in geographical funkiness, in every community. But you're right. I've never really seen anything like there is here in Rochester. And I moved here in 1990, but I've lived in lots of different places, but I came probably most directly from the New York City area. New York's too big to have that much of a. I mean, it has lots of different
Maybe
pockets
from the
and niches.
boroughs of, borough- yeah.
So I was a little surprised by it. I don't quite understand it. But it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So one of the things that I did when I started, as I said, it's been about 3 years, but when I started, I said, well, can somebody show me where the membership is?
Yeah.
And so we mapped out where the members were. And at that time, and I think it might even be more true now, we found that close to half of the membership was outside the town of Greece, and not just a little ways outside the town of Greece, but all over Monroe County, in some cases outside Monroe County, and we even have some members that are outside of the state, believe it or not. So that was quite enlightening. You want to know where your market is,
Sure.
where your membership is, where your consumers are. And so we started a dialogue with the board around the fact that it might be important to do a little rebranding. We had planned on doing a strategic plan anyway, so we went through this great strategic planning process, brought the membership together, did focus groups, did surveys, and at the end of the day, we didn't make an enormous change in our name, but it's an important change. So where we were Greece Chamber of Commerce before, we are now Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, and it is because we want to acknowledge the fact that we really serve and represent a much larger footprint than just the town of Greece. But of course, the town of Greece is our home, and it is a big home with a lot of population, and we also are really interested in continuing to put the spotlight on Greece.
Home of 6,000 businesses, 100,000 people, largest suburb, of course,
Absolutely.
to the city of Rochester. And Sarah Lentini is the president and CEO of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce, hosting the 2017 Small Business Awards this Thursday at the Rochester Marriott. And looking forward to it again. If you want ticket information, we suggest you get your tickets by tomorrow. You can get them best by going online
at greecechamber.org. That's greecechamber.org, O-R-G, or calling 227-7272.
Right, at this off time on Sunday, I'm sure you get the voicemail and someone will get back
Correct.
to you right away.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
All right, did we cover it all? You got a whole list of things you wanted to talk about here.
Oh, gosh, we do so many. We're doing so many great things.
Yeah.
Just to say, if anybody's interested in health insurance, to think of us as a resource. If anybody is, interested in networking, business networking, we do a ton of that. We do training. If there are folks out there that are designers, we're doing a wonderful 2020 design training that's on November 14th, also on the website. We offer travel packages, and the travel packages, typically offer discounts that might be of interest to people, but we're working with a wonderful company called Colette that has, it's actually a family-owned business that's been in business for 100 years. Great. That really puts together fantastic packages, both domestic and international. And speaking of training, I just want to go back and say that we're launching a series with Mike Kachechi of Accelerated Performance, who's somebody with a fantastic business background, and it's going to be on really strategic developing a strategic sales approach to sell anything. Everybody in life has some selling to do, right? You do, I do.
Yeah.
Whether it's whether it's selling a product or selling services or selling a concept proposal, something that I often have to do, how to go about being more effective, something that I think everybody could benefit from. So that's a 7-week series that's kicking off in January. So we do a ton of things, and we hope that people check out the website at greaschamber.org. And I thank you so much for having me on as your guest, and thank you again so much for the role that you're playing as the Master of Ceremonies along with Nikki Rudd.
I look forward to it on Thursday. I think we've covered a lot here, and I'm thrilled to have met you, and I'm looking forward to Thursday for sure.
Thank you again, Steve.
Sarah Lentini, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce.